Did Deion Sanders fumble the bag for his son in the NFL draft? That's what we're talking about tonight. Now, everybody knows Deion Sanders, NFL Hall of Famer, college coach, and the man with a personal brand that has crossed over generations, crossed over racial divides, and crossed genders. Of all the things that Deion has accomplished, owning an NFL team is not one of them, at least not yet. Now, when it comes to business, there are two types of people. There are business owners and there are people who work for business owners, also known as employers and employees. Now, before a business owner commits to hiring an employee, she or he requires the employee to prove their skills to be in that position. And that employee also needs to prove that he or she will blend in with the other employees. Now, as a coach, Deion knows that bringing in the wrong person, even if they have the right skills, can be detrimental to the team. Now, most regular smegular people are used to having to take some type of test, like skills test, a drug test, and maybe even a personality test just to get offered the position. Even though most people are hired because of their skills, most people are fired because of their behavior. So it just makes business sense to hire slowly, right? Now, if the prospective employee is unwilling to take any of those pre hire tests, that could disqualify him or her from getting the job. Now, I'm sure you would agree and Deion would agree. Now, that's where Shedeur comes into the picture. If you've been paying attention to the NFL draft, then you know what happened. Why? Here's what I want to know. Why are some people surprised that Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur, was passed up in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft and won't acknowledge that it could have been Shedeur's fault? Why could it have been his fault? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's why. See, when players are invited to the NFL Combine, they are expected to show their athletic abilities on demand. Forget what you did on the film. Forget all the other stuff that we might have seen from you. They want you to show right now. So they don't invite you to the party for you to decide to not participate in the events. Shedeur did not participate in every event as expected. Now, whether or not that was his decision or his father's decision for him is a moot point. Now, I suspect that had Deion, the father, thought that it was best for Shedeur, the son, to participate in every snap, in every request, that's what would have happened because we all know what type of father that Deion is. And I say that in the most respectful way. We've seen videos and interviews of him just simply saying, you know what, my son is not going to play for just any old body. My son is going to do like I want him to do because he believes that father knows best. And with him having the experience in the game of football and in sports and having the respect and knowledge that he does, of course, we can understand he's going to guide his sons because he has more than one playing. I think his other son got picked up by another team or either joined another team, but we're talking about Shedeur. We know what kind of father and what kind of coach and knowledge that he has. So while most people are knowledgeable of and agree that Shedeur's quarterback skills are undeniable, as we already said, there's more to the equation than a person's skills. Now, just like a marriage, you don't just marry the person, you marry a person's family. Now, while I'm sure that the Sanders family are great people, if team owners and coaches can't trust Shedeur to play the game before they cut the multi-year, multi-million dollar check, they probably will do what some of them did and pass on the option to sign him. And when I say play the game before the game, we know everything has protocol and everything, and I'm calling it again, you got to show up, you got to do what they ask you to do when they ask you to do it, even though they already know you wouldn't have been invited to the party at that point had you not already shown some type of a level that you can play at that level. So that's not the question. The question then becomes, how are you going to fit in? How do you follow directions? Because no matter how good of a player you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter if you have the skills for the regular schmegular job, if you can't follow simple directions, it's just not going to work. You know that, and I know that. So that's where we are. Now, even when you're Deion Sanders' son, you have to look at this whole picture from a perspective of a NFL owner and the perspective of an NFL coach. And if the Sanders family looked at it like that, then Deion probably should have advised his son to do things differently. Again, I don't know who told Shedeur it's better to sit this round out or sit this request out or don't show all of your skills. Maybe there's more to it, but the bottom line is if other people showed with comparable skills, showed more of a willingness to do what they were asked to do, then they probably went further in the minds of the coaches and the owners. Now we know, and you might be saying, some people, show up and they say the same thing, or they don't do everything that's asked of them. They have the option to sit out. Well, we know when you're Black in America, it's just different. You just got to play the game to get where you need to go. And then maybe from there, you can negotiate differently. Okay. But the bottom line is, if you are trying to go somewhere and somebody else is the owner of that company, you have to do what they ask you to do. So I'm sure Deion's counsel has helped his son reach this level of top performance over the course of Shedeur's playing career. We know that. I'm not denying that at all. But again, last time I checked, Deion does not own an NFL team. So if his son wants to play on an NFL team and his father doesn't own one, then that means he can, at some point, he needs to let go of whatever it might be keeping him from getting to that next level. And at this point, hindsight is 2020. He might have done better had he just gone along with the program at the beginning of the combine. We know now he was drafted in the 5th round, I think 199th, when they thought he was going to go first or second. So all that difference is a difference in what signing bonus and how much money you can command because of the position that you were drafted. So there's millions of dollars that probably were lost because of the place that he got drafted. But that still doesn't take away from his playing ability. I go to Tom Brady, as a matter of fact. He was drafted very low in the rankings, but we know now the ability and the career that Tom Brady had over the years. So that doesn't mean that all is lost. That just means at some point you have to acquiesce to what others want you to do, even if you feel like and you might be the best player. So the lesson to Shedeur and others like him, or even the lesson to everyday regular schmegular folks, is don't walk in the door expecting to be handed special treatment just because you're one of the best players and because of who your father might be or the connections that might have gotten you to that point. We already know that some people are waiting for Shedeur to fail. So hopefully he won't give them a reason to be able to say in the end, I told you so. To find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thank you so much and have a super day.